Craig, and today for the Surfboard Guide, we're going to check out the Fish by Christenson Surfboards. So the Fish I got is a stock 5.6, and it's 5.6 by 21 by 2 7/16, and it's exactly 32.4 litres. So looking over the Fish, I don't need to say too much about the outline. I think most people would know this is a pretty classic kind of fish outline. A lot of classic fishes that came out of San Diego and all over the place, skip fry and stuff like that. It's got that really kind of true classic outline. And I think, people see me with this board a mile off and they know exactly what it is. Even if it didn't have the classic Christenson decals on it, they'd probably know what board it is. Looking over the Fish, start with the rocker. It's flat. It's really, really flat. There's a gentle amount of tail lift in the back end just to keep you out of trouble and so you can kind of get up and pivot on the board. And through the front, a little bit of nose lift, rocker through the bottom. Surprisingly, in bigger, steeper and suckier waves, it keeps out of trouble for a really small flat board, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. On the top, it's got a nice kind of gentle beak, nothing too kind of crazy. It actually goes away. A lot of people putting beaks on boards now, and they can kind of come up and be really kind of pronounced and look a little bit ugly. This is nice. The beak kind of holds that volume through the front end of the board, and it just kind of slips away really gently, and it looks like a really nice kind of finish and nose. What I really liked about the board was actually, say from the stringer to about 2/3 to the rail, and obviously the same on each side, the deck is pretty much flat. So you're going to hold a lot of volume through this center, and that last third towards the rail, it drops away just really nicely. So under your actual hand, it probably feels like a mid-rail. It doesn't feel big or full at all. But then as you get a little bit closer, it's actually quite full and there's quite a lot of volume. So again, that rail, like I said, in bigger and steeper and sort of surf, that rail feels really nice through the water. Easy to surf, easy to turn, and the board has a lot of grip for a small, wide, kind of stumpy board. Flipping it over, through the front, feels pretty flat. It almost feels like there's a V, but I think it's just flat through the entry, maybe a light V, and then it comes into this single through the fins, probably like the last kind of half or third, and it gets really quite deep through the tail there between the fins. So that single is just going to be really quick, water flowing through and just be really, really quick. And we'll talk more about the fins later and their toe and their cant, which kind of impacts how that works. But yeah, really fast board, whether going, down the line, turning or whatever, really fast and really easy to surf. So I had a Christenson Fish a few years ago, but I think I made the mistake. I was still a very high performance shortboard guy kind of then, and I still made the mistake, and I think a lot of people do, thinking boards like this and fishes are for, small and kind of crappy waves. So I was going up to Byron Bay with a family, love surfing the pass, great beach with kids in the family and that. Generally it's kind of knee high to waist high, long runners, but most people on kind of 9-foot logs and that. So I wanted something to kind of get in that kind of that rhythm, get waves, up my wave count, have something that flows across section. So I got a Fish. Went pretty well, but again, like I said, I was in that mindset where you got these kind of boards for small and crappy waves. And not till I got a Fish now, I actually realized that it's like, I wouldn't say it's a one board quiver, but it's a very versatile board. And while it worked really well in those like small, weak and kind of long waves, I was probably really after like a mid-length or like a 9.6 or one of his, I ended up getting a 10.6 Chris Craft from Christenson Surfboard. So, I think I had the wrong board, and I think at the time that's why I didn't really froth on it. Now I've had it a little bit older and I'm actually into probably understand more boards more broadly, and I appreciate other boards. The Fish is absolutely epic. I saw I think Christenson years ago said something like, if you could only get one board, if you're stuck on an island, a tropical island, and only had one board, the Fish is what he'd take, and I kind of understand why. Like I said, it is good for small, and I was talking about like knee high to waist high waves that are pretty weak, and I'm a pretty heavy guy. It goes okay in that stuff, but when it gets a little bit bigger, say waist to shoulder high, you get a bit of face, right rip bowl, even like a point break, the thing's absolutely mental. And I got a chance to surf it on some kind of bigger days in that kind of 4 to 6 foot range. Some of them were quite sucky actually, and the thing was epic. It actually shocked me. My first surf was actually on a day where I live kind of a right wedge, gets pretty sucky, pretty slabby. And I paddled into this kind of bigger, suckier thing. And I just dead set thought I was going to go over the handlebars and nosedive. It actually shocked me how much this board pulled up, did not nosedive, did not go over the handlebars, and just kind of held a really nice line, kind of dropped, pivoted around the section, no trouble, did a turn, had a lot more grip and hold than I was expecting it to. And the board was super, super versatile. I think that is like I said, it's got that nice kind of gentle, that rocker through the bottom that keeps out of trouble, and the outline, how that fairly wide point that comes up quite a long way pulls into a narrow nose. And when you're surfing, you're kind of over the front. That kind of complements it and just makes it surfing, especially in steeper and sucky waves, a little bit better than you think it would naturally. Also in the back end, it's got this huge swallow. I've sort of referred to in a few things as a twin pin. The swallows are so large, they're almost like a tail, on their own. But that provides a whole lot of grip. If you think about it, when you're in the face of the wave, this is buried, and these are like, because you're kind of on an angle, these are like kind of buried in the face of the wave, and with that nice effective edge, the board has a lot of grip, but then also because it's nice and tight and narrow, it makes surfing on that really, really easy, and it's very, very maneuverable. In the Fish, I tried out a bunch of different fins, but there's only kind of one I'd recommend, or one set of fins. So a true Fish, I believe, runs with a keel setup. So FCS and Christenson have just released the Christenson Keels, and that is what I rode for the majority of time. I put it in first surf, I left it in last surf, but doing a review on a surfboard is pretty silly, not check out a few different fins. So if you want to stick with keels, I also have the FCS CI keels. Fine, they're absolutely fine. If you have the power keel, anything else, if you're rocking futures, your K1s, Machados, Rastas, anything I think will really go well. So I think you probably want to surf this board with a keel fin. I think it kind of, it complements the tail design. Also the fins have really low toe and cant. So what that means is they're actually quite straight. So normally your fins are on an angle that points towards the center or the nose of the board. These don't so much, and I don't want to get into the tech stuff because I really don't want to get it wrong. That's not what I'm here for. But they're fairly straight, and also fins normally have a bit of angle on them. They don't have as much angle as normal. So what that is, it's kind of designed to go fast and it's designed to go straight. But with the rest of the design, the board doesn't just go straight. You can turn it quite well, and hopefully got some clips up there to show you how the board actually surfs in the water. But easy to surf, and the keels just complement everything, and it's really, really good. So the Christenson or the CI keel I tried, absolutely epic. Christenson also has an upright twin, and we checked that out a while ago when we rode the lane splitter. Felt okay. I don't think this board's designed to ride an upright twin, but if you've got upright twins or you want like a little bit extra pivot, they're completely fine. So with the upright twin, I felt it gave the board a bit more pivot, and it definitely felt looser, but I felt it lost a lot of its drive. And part of the reasons that I want to surf a board like this, especially when I'm doing a turn at open face, is having that nice long arc and that hold. And I felt you kind of lost it with this. But what you did get is quicker release. You could kind of snap out of turns, really easy to surf. And if you've only got upright twins, completely fine. And also I just checked out the MR. I think these are kind of a staple for anyone that rides a twin fin. Most people have the MR, or if you're riding futures, the T1, very similar setup. And again, this went really fine. But again, I would be pushing to put a keel fin in this. It's a true Fish. I think they go best with keels, and Christenson has a keel, which is pretty much designed for this board. And it went absolutely epic. Overall, the Christenson Fish was absolutely epic. It was really cool to come back, 4 or 5 years later and try it out again. I'm a little bit older. I'm appreciating different boards, got a bit of a different mindset, and I really, really enjoyed it. For anyone who's keen to check one out, I went 5.6 and 32.4 litres with this. Felt fine. My shortboards are kind of around 31 litres, and I'm about 92 kilos. So this felt fine, paddled really well. Saying that, I could have gone up in volume, but I probably wouldn't want to go up in length. I think with kind of true classic fishes, you want to ride them quite short. I'm 5'10 and a half, and this is 5'6". This felt really good, but I'd also love to get one like 5'4 at 33 litres. I don't want to make it too much longer and too much bigger, and you can get long fishes, but the design's a little bit different. So try not to get the board too big. So, if I wanted like the volumes that are in the 5.8s or 5.10s, I'd actually try and bring them down. So, if you look at Christenson's website, if you're in Australia, look at Onboard Store, you can custom order this board. And if you want volume, but you're not like overly tall, I would look at getting a custom order and trying to get a bit more volume in it and keep it nice and short. But again, if you maybe like a beginner to intermediate surfer, maybe you want a little bit longer, Its maneuverability in that is going to be a little bit lessened, but it's going to be a really fun board, really easy to surf. Its paddle power is amazing. Going to have a whole lot of fun. And like I said, it's not just for like small 1 foot kind of point breaks. It is for a whole array of conditions. The Christenson Fish, I think, is for absolutely anyone. I think from a beginner who's going off like, say, a foam or, you know, sort of soft board onto a fiberglass board, it's easy to surf, paddles really well. Its rocker profile surprisingly keeps out of trouble, doesn't nosedive in that, and it's a really, really easy surfboard. An intermediate surfer, it's epic. You can turn, do whatever you want. You know, if you're surfing kind of, you know, okay days on it, but you get a section where you want to do a turn, it's very, very capable. Again, we've got a few clips and hopefully it kind of shows you how the board goes. And for an advanced surfer, if you want a fish, like a true fish, and you know what they're doing, you know how they surf, it's probably one of the best ones on the market. It is, it's been around, it's not a new design. It's been around for a long, long time. But we were keen to check it out because there weren't really any kind of proper fish, Christenson Fish reviews online with surfing in them. And I was keen to check it out. And it's probably over the last, you know, 4 or 5 years we've done the surfboard guide. It's probably the most requested board. People have always said, I put up shots years ago when I had it, and people are like, where's that review? What happened to it? And over the like 4 or 5 years, I probably had over 100, maybe 150 DMs or questions or comments asking for a review on this board, or asking questions about this board. So it was cool to finally check it out. Look, overall, Fish is an absolutely epic board. Lots of fun for waves, kind of, you know, knee high through to 5 or 6 foot. Very, very capable, very, very versatile. And I've definitely enjoyed surfing it. Look, thanks to Onboard Saw and Christenson Surfboards for getting us a chance to check this out, and hope you get a chance to check one out too. Thanks so much for watching.